Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We have a lot to get into. Kyrie issued a stern warning to Rockets players. The Nets are facing off against the Rockets. And Shaq also criticized today's NBA players. Of course, what else is new? We're also talking about an update with the Deshaun situation, Deshaun Watson. But before we do all that, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic. And I'm excited to say that what day is it today, Devin? It's
Taco Tuesday!
Devin was like, I don't know. It's just a regular Tuesday. What are you talking about? No, it's Taco Tuesday.
I completely forgot, Jackie. It's funny because I even talked about Taco Tuesday today, just on my own when I was on the phone with my mom. So I don't know why I didn't remember that when we were going in. Can you? Okay, cool. Let's jump right in, you guys. Let's talk about Kyrie Irving. So the Nets play the Rockets tomorrow, and it'll be James Harden's first return to Houston since leaving the team. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, Kyrie issued a very strong, stern warning to Rockets fans and Rockets players. So in a post-game interview, he said that he doesn't want anybody to be doing any trash talking to James Harden, and he's not going to tolerate it. He said, "Everybody at home, enjoy the game. There will be no tension or no shit talking going on the court or about James in my presence or anybody else's presence. We're coming to Houston to enjoy the game of basketball." Now, considering James left Houston on a pretty sour note, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some smack talking going down on the court. We see that in a normal game when there isn't this personal issue going on. So I feel like we are going to be getting a little bit of, some chirping going on between players, but Kyrie's making clear that he's not going to be tolerating any of it. I want to say I respect what Kyrie is trying to do. I think that this is a refreshing perspective for him, considering we expected him to be unable to share the spotlight with James Harden and KD. So for him to actually come out and say that he is being protective over James Harden, it is refreshing, but I think his efforts are futile. I feel like there is going to be some shit talking going on. I don't think Kyrie's going to be able to do anything to stop it. I think the Rockets are going to be going into this game with a major chip on their shoulder. I mean, just yesterday, Jackie, you told us how John Wall was saying they're looking like ass right now, or whatever the word was that he said. They have the second worst record in the West. I don't think that they're going to be going into a game against their former franchise player and thinking, it's all love, we're all good, no issues here, especially because James Harden threw them under the bus. So I feel like talking smack is part of the game. In this situation, tensions are going to be running high. But Jackie, what do you think about this? Do you feel like it's possible for Rockets players to go into this game and just have this all-love attitude that Kyrie wants them to have?
I mean, that's going to be tough. Perhaps, I think it could be like an all-love situation, and I think ultimately, deep down inside, players could respect, okay, you know what? Here's a guy that just wanted to get out. He's been here forever. It didn't work for whatever reason. He wanted out. So I think they could potentially, have respect for him if James Harden had not said that the Rockets were lacking talent. Those guys that he was speaking about, some of them are still around, and you literally threw your teammates under the bus. And I think that that's going to resonate, especially for John Wall, because for him, it's like, okay, you said you wanted to play with me, and I thought that we were going to have this moment in time when we could actually figure out how we gel together, because at that time, the Rockets seemed like they were going to stand their ground and not let him out of the situation. So I thought you and I were going to have a thing. So I don't think that message that Kyrie is sending is for the entire Houston Rockets. I think that's specifically for John Wall, because John Wall is the one who's been very vocal about the situation. But Victor Oladipo, he's just now coming over there, and a lot of these guys are just they're new to this franchise, so they're not really thinking about it in that way. I think this message was for John Wall. But if I'm going to be honest, Kyrie don't want no parts of John Wall like that. That's not the person that you want to try to step up and say, "Oh, if this happens in my presence, there are going to be some consequences." No, there's not. You don't want those John Wall hands. It's not going to be a thing. Stop saying that. I do, like you said, I appreciate him saying, "Hey, this is my boy now. So if you come for him, you come for me." I appreciate that, but you can't act like James Harden didn't say what he said. And so there might be some words and there might need to be some words because James Harden needs to understand what he did was mad disrespectful. And you just don't throw professional athletes under the bus like that. And so if John Wall wants to say something, let him say what he says, and then say it with respect and then walk off, don't try to start any beef. But it is going to be pretty chippy on the floor. I definitely expect that. And I expect some hard fouls to be called, maybe even a technical, maybe an ejection, but it's definitely going to be a hard game. And you should expect that. It is what it is. You should just expect that. I don't think any player has left a team and expected to go back to, sunshine and roses. That's just not always how it is when you leave on really bad terms. So it just is what it is.
Right. Yeah. And, James Harden had his opportunity to throw his teammates under the bus, which we obviously both disagreed with and thought was wrong. But then if somebody wants to come back, if someone like John Wall has something to say, I feel like he should be able to say it without having Kyrie try and get into his face or do anything about it. I don't know. I felt like this whole situation was weird because we see players trash talking each other all the time, regardless of, these personal issues that they might have been having. So I feel like, don't you agree that Kyrie kind of just needs to realize that it's part of the game now?
Well, Kyrie needs to understand that he's been on the receiving end of this a little bit, I think. But he's never had anybody really talk bad about him because people kind of just accept he's a little weird, Cavs fans, or if y'all are like me and you're just LeBron James fans, you remember when Kyrie sat on the sideline and just pouted and didn't talk to his entire teammates. That's something that I need to speak to you about. But ultimately, it didn't happen. People just kind of, washed it off. But we just had the other day, the president of basketball operations for the Celtics said that what Boston is going through now is all Kyrie's fault. So no, when he goes back to Boston, the players don't really say anything to him, but the higher ups are all in the media saying stuff about him. So people are going to say what they say. And it just is what it is. With all that Kyrie has done that we may agree or disagree with, he's never really thrown his fellow players under the bus. You could argue that about the Cleveland situation because he wasn't really mentally present, but he didn't sit in front of a camera and say to people, there's a lack of talent here. He's never done that. He's never said that the talent amongst his fellow teammates was the reason why they did not succeed. And that's just a different level of disrespect to me. So I do think it's going to be an interesting situation. But like I said, for people like Victor Oladipo, who's just in Houston for the time, he doesn't care. He don't have nothing to say. It's just another game. I think specifically, once again, that this was directed towards John Wall. And I think John Wall has a reason to feel some type of way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. 1,000%. I'm going to segue into our next need to know news topic, and it's sort of in a similar subject matter. Shaq, he is always criticizing players. We love kind of tearing Shaq apart over here just because he is always saying some crazy thing that, it's just like, why are you even saying that? What's the point? He is very critical of today's NBA stars, and he calls them out a lot on national television on Inside the NBA. And he's been put on blast for just how harsh and just how critical he is. But he says that the way players and athletes react to the criticisms that he gives them when he's on Inside the NBA shows just how soft players have become today. So he joined the Dan Patrick Show, and he said, quote, "When Kareem Abdul-Jabbar gave me constructive criticism, I took it, I listened, and I brought my game to another level. These guys now are pudding pops," is the word that he used. So I will say, I feel like maybe athletes have become slightly more sensitive to criticisms, but I also think that Shaq is needlessly harsh. Shaq will say things like that whole interview that he had with Donovan Mitchell. It was Donovan Mitchell, right? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
That was pointless. It was pointless for him to act like that. It was mean for no reason. There was no constructive criticism about that. It was just criticism. It was just like kind of a bully mentality. So I think that Shaq is just kind of like missing the point here. I don't know. Do you agree, Jackie, that athletes are softer today than they were when Shaq was at the height of his NBA career?
I think it's funny that Shaq is saying this, considering the beef that he and Kobe had, and that was all about Shaq not wanting to kind of bow down a little bit, not bow down per se, but understand that your role is not Batman, So I think it's funny that he was all of a sudden saying, "Oh, players are soft." So just, I mean, go back into your memory there, buddy, and see if you call yourself soft, because that's a whole different situation. I agree and I disagree. I think that sometimes, especially when you get to a certain point in your career where you believe your own hype, I think that that's when guys don't take criticism that well. And I think we see that that's evident in the lack of really good coaches that we see nowadays, because you see people like Frank Vogel, and, all due respect to Frank Vogel, there's no way in hell that LeBron James should be playing the level of minutes that he's playing. But Frank Vogel won't step up and say, you know what, you're going to sit down. And the reason for that is because he doesn't want to go to LeBron and say something that he thinks LeBron is going to be offended by. So I think it's on both sides of the fence. I think that coaches they're not giving these athletes the hard truths anymore. They're teaching that, they're letting them kind of float around like divas and do whatever they want. Nobody told Kawhi, look, I know your family's in San Diego, but you're going to move your behind to LA because you're not going to keep being late. You're not going to keep disrespecting your teammates and wasting their time. Nobody says that to Kawhi. So Kawhi gets to go out and just do whatever. And then the second you say something to him, then it becomes a problem. So I think it's both sides of the fence. I think that they've become soft because nobody's giving them anything anymore. Everybody's kind of just letting them do their thing. They're reaching out. We hear stories of young athletes, especially reaching out to like a LeBron or reaching out to Kobe when he was still with us to help their games elevate. But they're not really taking that constructive criticisms from people like, Shaq. Shaq, like you said, though, he doesn't give constructive criticism. And I don't even know how he could, because his game was predicated entirely on the fact that he was big. There wasn't a lot to his game outside of that. So what are you going to tell me about my game? How are you going to help me in my game when your game was just you big as hell? I'm not big as hell. So now how are you going to help me? So there's a difference in that constructive criticism, because I do see guys, and you see that on the sidelines. You'll see guys go up to certain people that are on different teams, and then you'll see them kind of mimicking moves. We've seen Giannis try to teach people the Euro step who aren't very good at it. So yeah, these athletes do reach out for constructive criticism, but I think that the coaching staff has made them a little soft in the league nowadays, because I don't think the coaching staff is curtailing the diva status as much as they would have. Yes, Jordan was a diva, but at the same time, Phil Jackson was a coach, and Phil Jackson was only going to let you do so much. Greg Popovich is only going to let you do so much. But then after that, I can't name another coach in the league. Y'all in the chat, let me know, is there another coach in the league that's really going to say to one of these athletes, one of these star athletes, no, I know you want to do this, but this is how you're going to do it going forward. It's just not a thing. And I think that's what makes some of these athletes kind of soft.
So in addition to that, Jackie, and let me know if you agree with me on this one, I also think that social media has made it harder for players to take criticism as well, because not only are they seeing headlines about them that, paint them in a negative light, they're receiving criticism from commentators and hosts like Shaq, but they're also getting personalized DMs from haters every single day, on every single photo they post, on every single story they publish. I wonder, I know I try and explain this to my mom, but like sometimes I internalize the criticism that I receive on YouTube or Instagram or whatever a lot more than, someone like my mom would, because she didn't have to deal with seeing every negative thing that people think about you on a screen, right directly in your line of sight. So I almost feel like the negativity has gotten so much bigger and so much more personal and abundant that it makes it harder for people in the limelight to take criticism from outside sources, even if it is constructive. Do you agree with me on that one?
Yeah, social media is horrible in its entirety. I love YouTube specifically because YouTube, they have that you can go in and change your settings. So I have certain words that you just can't say to me, and if you say that, it's going to end up in my held for a review. I'm just not going to see it, and I don't read my held for a review. I just go in and delete it, So I don't read that. So unfortunately, Instagram and Twitter, they don't have that. I mean, Twitter's starting to just ban me for not even cussing. So I don't know what Twitter's doing, but Instagram, they don't have that. And I think that they need to implement that. They need to implement certain settings. Because there's a certain name that I'm always called on my YouTube. So I just go in there and that setting is in there. And now you can't call me that. And now I don't receive that because there is one way or another, it's going to play into your psyche. Ooh, Kevin, he said Doc Rivers. Yes, Doc Rivers is another good coach. I failed to mention him, but those things do play into your psyche in some way, shape, or form. Me, it makes me angry as hell and I just want to fight. That's not productive either. It doesn't hurt me to the way that I want to get, all in my feelings and I get sad. I'm the type of person that's like, meet me here. Let's see, say it to my face. That's the type of person I am. And that's not productive. That's not good for anybody. So you do have to figure out a way. You have to know who you are and how much you can take. And then you have to make allowances for that. So if you're somebody who's super sensitive, you need to say to yourself, all right, today I'm not reading any comments. You know what I mean? I'm just not going to do that. If you're an athlete like that has all this money, then maybe get yourself a social media manager who they go in and make sure your comments or whatever because you can't keep taking in negativity day in and day out and expect it not to affect you in some way, shape, or form. So it could be, these athletes now, they've grown up with social media. That's all they know. They get their news from social media. They get their validation from social media. So it could be a part of that they need to back off of it a little bit. But at the same time, you don't want to delete all of those comments because if you get a whole bunch of comments saying that you're great and wonderful and you don't see any areas where you can improve, that's detrimental as well. So if you're not the type of person who can figure out social media, then get yourself a social media manager and then just stay off it. That would be my advice.
That's probably good advice, Jackie, especially for these guys with millions of followers. I just think that if they do see the negativity all the time, it just makes it harder to take even more negativity from other sources. But I do agree. I do think that NBA athletes are a little bit softer than they were when Shaq was playing, and I think it's a sign of the times and the culture and the coaches, exactly what you were saying, Jackie. But I also don't think that they're pudding pops. I don't think that Shaq even has a right to call them pudding pops. Like, come on, Shaq. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about Deshaun Watson, you guys. So he's still on the roster for the Houston Texans, but that doesn't mean he's going to remain there for the rest of the year. So ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler decided to talk about potential offers that he's been hearing about, and it led him to saying one GM expects an NFL team to throw its entire draft at the Texans for Deshaun Watson. He said, quote, "I don't expect free agency to move anything here. Speaking to several people around the league, it's more the NFL draft in late April that could move the Texans. I spoke to one GM that said he expects the team to throw its entire draft or two entire drafts at Houston in the late hours of the draft, saying, here, you can have it all if I can have your quarterback. Perhaps that will finally move the Texans to do something." Another additional update about Deshaun Watson, he is still spending a lot of time in Miami. There were photos that came out of him at that famous resort in South Beach, Miami, and then he was also seen hanging out with several Dolphins players last month. So it seems like he's really liking Miami right now. I'm not saying that means anything, but it's worth throwing out there. So we talked about this before, Jackie, but do you think that it's more important to trade for a star quarterback than hope to get a superstar in a draft pick?
That just depends on your organization. If you're looking at your organization, you're like, okay, cool, I got a dope running back, I got a cool tight end, and I have a dope wide receiver. I'm just missing this this quarterback position. Then yeah, throw the farm at the guy. If you've already got every element, but you're missing this one puzzle piece, sure, throw the farm at him. But when you're looking at the Dolphins depth chart, it's just, I don't really, that's not, And here's the thing with the Dolphins depth chart, it's not one of those depth charts where you can say, oh, I think this guy is great. I think this guy is great, because they really haven't developed to that point yet anyway. So will they develop? Perhaps. But then again, yesterday we saw, Tom Brady talk about how no one had faith in him. He came into the league. He did great things. Then over in Miami, they have Tua, you know what I mean? And so are we at the point now where we just want to give up on Tua? We fought tooth and nail last season for them not to put Tua in early because we wanted him to have his full potential to grow. So now what's your plan? Is your plan that Tua has to grow under Deshaun Watson? And even if that's the case, then what weapons are you going to give Deshaun Watson to make sure that he's successful? So to make sure that the lessons that Tua is receiving are good lessons. Like, what is the plan here? Again, throw the farm at him if you can look at your core, at your depth chart, and say, you know what, with the proper coaching staff, with the proper training, this guy is going to be the next big thing. This guy is actually going to be an asset to my organization. If you can say that and be 100% resolved in that, then I say do that. I'm just saying, for me, I look at the Dolphins depth chart and I can't say that. I can say that you do need to look at some of these colleges and say, okay, where can I get me a good wide receiver? Where can I get me a good tight end? And that's just on the offensive side. I'm not even talking about the defensive side, so it really just depends on where you are as an organization. And unfortunately, I just don't think the Dolphins are that organization where they can give up everything for one guy, because I think Tua could be their next great quarterback. So do you give up on that now? I think you build around Tua. And don't get me wrong, if that's where Deshaun Watson wants to be, then y'all know I love me some Deshaun Watson. I want him to get what he wants. But I'm saying, as an organization, you have to take a step back. And if what we see in Tua is going to continue to grow, you're not giving up on that. But you have to be able to build around him, and you need those draft picks to be able to do that. So the Dolphins, for me, are not the team that should be throwing all of their draft picks Texans' way. That's just me.
Right. Well, and I said this in the chat, but he could just be hanging out in Miami because it's a super fun city and it's like COVID doesn't exist over there. So I think people are quick to say that he's, wanting to go to the Dolphins. Mamba even said, I told you all a few live shows back that he would end up in Miami. Guess my prediction isn't looking too bad now, is it? Mamba Machine, it's not looking too bad, but there are a couple things at play here, the pandemic being one of them. Miami is fully open, and it really is like COVID doesn't exist there. And I think Deshaun probably needs to blow off a lot of steam, considering the last we heard, the Texans fully denied his trade request. And speaking of that, Jackie, let's just talk about that a little bit, because we've just heard time and time again that they are holding on to Deshaun Watson with this really, really tough grip. Do you think that they would be motivated to give up Deshaun Watson in order to get all of those draft picks, or are they still just going to keep their claws in him?
I don't know how petty they are over there. This is Texas we're talking about, and so the level of petty that I think people in Texas have is pretty high. So I think they could, and I've said this before, if you guys follow me on social media, I've said this, what we're looking at is an NFL season without Deshaun. And that's just a factual thing for me. I think he's going to stand his ground and he's going to sit out for a year, because he's the kind of talent he could sit out for a year, dare I say maybe even two, and people are still going to remember his name. They're still going to remember that this man literally went out and made lemonade out of a whole bunch of lemons. He had the highest passing yards in the league with what? He doesn't have any real weapons. He can afford to take a year off, and people are still going to check for him. Taking that year off all of a sudden puts the pressure on the Houston Texans, and now they have to decide, all right, are we just going to keep letting this money sit like this, or are we going to make a move? Because you still need a quarterback. Regardless, you still need a quarterback. So if Deshaun stands his ground, which I fully expect him to do, then now you're in a position where he's holding all the cards, because now he's just proven like he don't give a damn what y'all say. He's not playing for you. So it just depends. I think that somebody in that head office is going to have to realize that if that's the route he wants to take, it's better for everybody, just financially and in effort to build up the organization. It is better for everybody to just move on now. But I fully expect that Deshaun is going to not play this season.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened too. This feels like this endless saga for him, just wanting to leave and not being able to go anywhere. So we'll see what happens. For those of you in the chat, let us know what you think.
I want to say one more thing because I've seen this a couple of times in the chat, and I think it's worth mentioning that people say, "Oh, I think the Patriots are the best fit for Deshaun Watson." How do you come up to that conclusion? Because I've not only seen that in our chat, I've seen people say that Deshaun Watson has made it very clear that some of the racial problems that exist with Texas are the reason why he does not want to be there anymore. Now, granted, you have Bill Belichick, I think one of the best coaching minds in the NFL in New England, but that's not the city you go to. That's not the organization you go to if you're trying to escape certain levels of racism. That's just not where you go. So if that is where he ends up, then we have to circle back and we have to question why not just stay with the Texans at that point, because they did end up getting a black head coach, which you said was important to you. So if you end up in New England, all of a sudden I have to question some of your reasons for leaving the Texans in the first place. So I don't think he ends up with the Patriots, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, Jackie. I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. Poor Deshaun Watson. He's just wanting to leave so badly and not being able to go anywhere. All right, you guys. Well, that wraps up Need to Know News. So, Jackie, can you take us into the post up?
Yes, let's get into the post up because I am so excited about this first one because you guys remember yesterday that Devin and I had a conversation about Carmelo Anthony, and I said, no, there's only one Melo in the league. There's only one person that's supposed to be doing the 3 to the dome, and that is Carmelo Anthony. That is it, and that is all. But Carmelo is a stand-up guy. He's clearly a lot nicer than I am, and he doesn't agree with me. So let's take a look at what he had to say about the whole thing.
He can do it. He only do it one time, but he can do it.
I've seen him do it a couple times, Melo.
No, but he only do one.
I got you.
So it's I blessed him, let him know that he can carry it on. I'm me. I mean, I'm me. It's nothing that nobody can do, nobody can say. I think Lil Melo is somebody who is going to be in this game for a long time. So the name Melo, you guys might as well continue getting used to that or stay with it. I don't get into that though. It's for me, it's a respect thing. It's an honor, for him to have that name, for him to embrace it. For him to do the celebration, like it's an honor, it's a blessing, it's a respect thing for me. So I embrace him. I embrace him.
Okay, well, that's sweet, Melo, and I appreciate you. But I said what I said. No, I don't care what Carmelo. No, it's not. No, you didn't ask first. This all came about because you were doing it. Go ahead, Devin.
I told you so. It's not that serious. Carmelo Anthony doesn't even care. It's not that serious.
He does care. He's trying not to seem like he's all like bitter or whatever. That's what it is. I'll be bitter for you, Carmelo. It's inappropriate. And look, people agree with me. This one guy on Twitter said the same thing. He was like, I don't care. There's one Carmelo Anthony. So let me show you this one tweet from this. There were several people actually that agree with me, but he did say, he was like, I don't care. It's just one Carmelo Anthony. No, Melo is Melo. LaMelo is LaMelo. End of story. And I like that he has the same picture on his mug, but he has it for Dame Dollar, where Dame's looking in the picture and his goat. I see you. I totally agree with that. And so does the commentator. The commentator, even after that little speech or whatever, he said, no. You say his full name. Commentator sticking to his story. I'm sticking with it. Take a look.
There's only one Melo in the NBA. Everybody else, you got to say the full name.
Me and this man are related. I am convinced. I'm gonna have to find him, and we're gonna have to start comparing our family tree because I'm telling you, we are related. No, I need to. When he scores, his name is Melo. Or you can just call him I don't care, but it's not Melo. It's not what we doing. So let's get on to the next one because this one leads back to what we were talking about earlier. Our guys in the NBA a little bit softer than they were before because this one is funny to me because Richard Jefferson put all this bass in his voice and Jamal Murray was immediately shook. He played it off like, oh, who are you talking to? But his first instinct was like, oh, I'm in trouble. Take a look. It is hilarious.
Jamal, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Don't you dare yes sir me ever again. Don't you dare.
What you talking about?
Don't just don't ever let that happen again. Do you understand me, sir?
Who the hell are you talking to?
I am talking to you, young man.
I love that. He's like, ooh, his voice got all, what? And then he was like, wait a minute, who are you talking to? No, we saw your very first initial reaction, Jamal. You was shook, totally shook. And I love that people are already turning you into a meme. That is hilarious to me. This one says, when you thought you turned off your mic, but get caught lacking in clear audio. Yep, that is so embarrassing. We have more of them. When the dude you've been talking trash to online starts reading out your address. Oh my God, could you imagine? That is the worst. It's so true. I love that we're now going to be able to make Jamal Murray a meme. I'm going to put one of those things when you think you're on mute on a Zoom call and you're talking about the person who's hosting it. That's happened. Not to me, but I've been on a call where that's happened. That is fantastic. Do you think Jamal was shook at first, or do you think he was just like, who is this?
I think he was. I mean, the way that person said, like, whatever he said, like, don't yes sir me or whatever. Yes, it was like kind of alarming. I probably would have had the same reaction. That's how I feel whenever we have the ghost of the Fumble suddenly trying to make its way into our live shows, or Leo all of a sudden is broadcasting his voice. I always end up feeling like, what just happened?
Right. So true. I love that reaction. We love Jamal Murray around here, so don't think we clowning him, but definitely gonna use that face the next time somebody say something crazy. I'm gonna be like, this is what you look like. So yes. But let's get into this next one because I feel like we're gonna have to watch this one a couple of times because I've watched it, I think about 10 times, and I still don't see the actual action. But that just lets you know the elbow. I think it's the elbow that hits Doug McDermott in the mouth. And his whole tooth comes flying out. Take a look at this inadvertent elbow to the face, tooth on the floor. Did y'all see him spit it out? Wait, watch again.
Oh, oh my God.
That looks like a molar. That's not like a little tooth. That was a big tooth.
Ow.
And I still, okay, one more time. I still don't see the hit that made this happen. And maybe it's because old boy's leg is in the way. But
yeah,
that definitely looks like
his leg is in the way.
Mm-hmm. Definitely looks like a molar.
How do you knock a molar out, though? Like, that seems so intense. Molars are so deep in your mouth. That must have been a really hard hit if it was a molar. Or else he just has really big, like, front teeth or something. I'm not sure. I can't think of what his teeth look like.
I can't either, but that was a really big tooth. And if he got front teeth that big, that's a whole different conversation because houseway. But I don't know. But that, shouts out to Doug because that looked painful, spitting out a tooth. Yeah. I don't know. He got strong elbows. Ben got strong elbows. That's the only thing I can come up with. But let's get to this next one because the Washington Wizards, y'all, can we just have a moment of silence for them? I feel like they deserve it at this point because they're going through so much. One point is how much they lost to the Boston Celtics. And it's a struggle. The struggle is so real because this is another one of those situations where it's like, can y'all please come out here and help me? Bradley Beal scored 46 points. Russell scored 24. Davis Bertans, he came off the bench for 20 points. But then outside of that, the starting line, trash. Outside of Bradley and Russell, the starting lineup did not do what they needed to do at all. Garrison Matthews, goose egg, 0 points. 0 points he scored. Wagner, 0 points. And then Rui got 2 points. This is ridiculous to me 1 point. If one of them is there on purpose and this is his fault, he could have went somewhere else. He could have taken his scoring talents to a team that actually had a chance of winning, but he didn't. He stayed. And so people are going to just kind of make fun of him. And that's what this next user did. This next user was like, you know what? A pissed off Bradley Beal is the best Bradley Beal. Can they keep losing? And you need to take that on the chin. You need to just, if you're going to say Jesus, maybe say, Jesus, can you help us? But at this point, I think.
Lunch on me.
Am I here? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so we live again?
Yes.
Okay, so can you throw up the video from Myles Garrett, please? I'm sorry, y'all. I just went into the frozen world.
At the end of a lower body session. All right, we did a lot of strength work today. I don't think that he's necessarily gonna hit it, but he wants to give me lunch, so here we are.
How many inches is that?
Lunch on me.
I love how his trainer is so embarrassed. He's like, yeah, I totally didn't think he was going to get that, but he got that because he's Myles Garrett, and that is what he does. Y'all know I love me some Myles Garrett. Devin, I know you're the workout queen. You work out. You do real workouts. You don't just walk around aimlessly like I do. 64 inches. You think you can pull that off? Uh-oh. Am I gone again? Do y'all hear me? Do y'all see me? I feel like that TikTok. Do y'all see us? Okay, so Devin's, I don't know. We're going to move on to this next one. This is hilarious. I think we need a whole reel of how I just be talking to myself sometimes. That doesn't happen just on the Fumble, y'all. That happens in real life, too. I talk to myself sometimes. Anyway, y'all know that I am a Saints fan, and you know that there are certain things that I just don't want to see. I love me some Alvin Kamara, and I love you to death. I understand that you think you're this rock star or whatever, but I need you to do better when you are doing risky sports. Yes, you play football, and I understand that people who play football are really adrenaline junkies. I get it. But you need to take care of yourself during the off season, my guy. You can't do anything crazy that might jeopardize you. This is ridiculous. Just take a look. I'm not even going to just take a look. I understand that he's having fun and it's all jokey joke, ha ha he he, but it's all ha ha he he until somebody gets hurt and then the regular season starts. So no, Alvin, I'm gonna need you to take some safety precautions. And I think some people agree you need to be out there wearing some helmets and stuff. Like, I know people have already told you this, but you need to be wearing a helmet and do better and just be safe. Okay, maybe at least the helmet. Bare minimum, wear the helmet. Right, Devin? Don't you agree? Safety first.
Yeah, safety first, and I have a feeling the Saints are going to be putting a no snowboarding clause in his next contract because he is risking it all. Snowboarding is dangerous, so, I mean, yeah, have a good time, but be safe. Luckily, those slopes don't look like they're too intense. It's not like he's going down black diamonds or anything, but still, scary.
Yeah, but I see him saying, oh, I didn't wipe out that bad. Let's level up. No, you stay on that little easy hill, so especially if you ain't going to wear no helmet. But yes, I agree with you in the chat. Somebody says he needs, Mama Machine says he needs some skiing lessons. Yes, he does. Because I tried to snowboard one time and I couldn't walk for like a day because my butt hurt so bad because I just kept biting it. Meanwhile, 4-year-olds are just zooming past me. It was so embarrassing, but that's a story for another day. But let's get into this next one because we love seeing beautiful young women about to make a splash in the world. And this girl right here, I'm telling you, she's going to be breaking ankles all the time. And I love the encouragement from her dad because he gives her this word of encouragement and then he just steps back and he lets her do what she does. I love this. So shouts out to this girl. Check out how she's going to start. You'll see the upcomings of breaking the ankles. Take a look.
Ayo, gay best friend check. Ayo, gay best friend check.
Yes!
I love how I intro that and then we hear the gay best friend check, which is our next video, but that was, the timing of that was flawlessly hilarious. So shout out.
I want to say I love that little girl. Such a skilled little basketball player. Obsessed with that video. But also intro us to this other Jordan Woods one, Jackie, whenever you're ready, because I'm dying to talk about that too.
Yes, because that one, you know, Devin's the relationship queen. She knows who's dating who. I really just don't care. That's not my thing. But I will say, given all that Karl Anthony Towns has gone through, to hear him say that he has a girl that's going to be there for him and pick him up when he's down, and she's the reason why he's been so strong to the situation. I am all here for their relationship between Jordan and Karl Anthony Towns. It's a beautiful thing. But I've seen this trend on TikTok. I am not a fan of it, and the men are not a fan of it. But let's revisit this video and see this prank that Jordan plays on Karl Anthony Towns and see his reaction when she does it.
Ayo, gay best friend check.
He didn't even move. He just stood there and looked at her like, I love that. Devin, would you do this challenge to your boy? I hate this challenge. Would you do this to your boyfriend?
Yes. Okay. I've told you guys before at the Fumble, I am a tough girlfriend to have, I think, because I troll my boyfriends. Not that I have multiple boyfriends at one time, but if I have a boyfriend, he is getting dragged by me on the daily. I'm very savage and would for sure do something like this and post something like this. And I support it. I like Jordan Woods and Karl Anthony Towns together. I think that they're a good couple. They support each other. And she can do little fun, playful things like this. So I like this.
Yeah, I'm definitely here for their relationship and his reaction. That was the I'm pissed, but I love you face. If you ever want to know what that looks like, that's exactly what that looks like. Like, oh, girl, you lucky I love you right now.
I get that a lot when I'm in a relationship, a lot.
I love it. I can't wait for you to get in a relationship so I can follow you on TikTok. And then I'm going to be like, oh, look, coming up next, Devin and her boyfriend are at it again. That'll be hilarious. All right, you guys, that's all I got for the post up. We're going to dive into what we not going to do. And I'm just going to take a page from Shaq's book and say, this ain't the one where y'all need to be super sensitive, because we're going to get into the weeds with this one, you guys, because this one is very annoying to me. And I know that some of y'all got a little pissed off at me either yesterday or one day last week when I had said that, you know, Black people can't be racist. And I know a lot of y'all got mad, but this whole story is about to break all that down for you. I have family in Texas. And unfortunately, when I go to visit, which hasn't been in years, specifically because of what I'm about to tell you, there are places where I just can't go. I have family in Waco, Texas. If y'all don't know where that is, look it up. It's where they drank the Kool-Aid, if that makes anything make sense. But with my family, when I go visit my family over there, they're very specific. There are certain places that I cannot go. There are certain places that I can go, but I need to make sure that I'm out of there before nightfall, because if I'm not, that could be very dangerous for me. So that's just how Texas is as a whole. But I don't really think of that kind of environment when I think about, say, I don't know, Dallas or Austin or something like that. So it's just a different kind of racism down in the South. I think we all know that and understand that. But I just don't expect it to openly exist in like Dallas or Austin or Houston or something like that. And I definitely don't expect it to exist at a college that the team is predominantly Black. I just don't expect that. So again, let me break this down. Let me tell you some things that you're not going to see Black people do because they simply don't have the political, economic resources to do such things. You have to be able to really impact someone's life negatively as a whole to actually be racist. You can be prejudiced as hell, but to be racist, you have to be able to really, in a negative way, impact somebody's life. So, for example, Black people can't say, oh, okay, if you come to this school and have straight hair, you can't wear your straight hair here. Your hair has to be kinky. However, Black people can go to school and they say, oh, if you wear your natural hair, it's a mess. We literally had to pass laws so Black people could wear their natural hair in the military. That's because laws were needed to overcome racism. We can't have an all-Black police force go into a white neighborhood and all of a sudden start shooting people at will and then use the defense that, oh, they feared for their lives and they would get away with it. Black people can't do those kinds of things. We can't funnel money away from white communities into Black communities and use it for our betterment while those communities suffer. We cannot do that. There's a level of racism that has to come with that we simply don't have. And we damn sure cannot force people to sing a hateful song that's all about killing or enslaving their ancestors and then say, you know what, you better just grin and bear it. Can't do it. We just simply cannot do it. But that's exactly what is happening at the University of Texas in Austin. They have a theme song. It's actually not a theme song. It's a fight song, but it's a fight song that they've had for as long as the university has been around. That is deeply, deeply, deeply rooted in racism. The song is called The Eyes of Texas. It was written in 1903. It's set to that tune. I think you guys probably know it. I've been working on the railroad. That's the way the song goes. But it's all about slaves escaping and letting the slaves know that they cannot get away because the eyes of Texas is upon them. So the lyrics, if you're curious, the lyrics are, the eyes of Texas are upon you all the live long day. The eyes of Texas are upon you. You cannot get away. Do not think you can escape them at night or early in the morn. The eyes of Texas are upon you till Gabriel blows his horn. That's their theme song. That is the fight song that they force these athletes to sing all the time. The song that says, hey, slaves, Black slaves, you can't escape us. This is the song that they're singing. So Black athletes in 2020 were like, okay, no, we don't want to sing this. Y'all can't make us sing this song because this is glaringly racist. We don't want to sing this song. So this started back from June to October of 2020. They were trying to fight this fight. But now the fight looks like it's pretty much over and the school is like, nope. Y'all are going to have to sing this song, and it just is what it is. And the reason for that is because the school has received over 300 plus emails, all from alumni and boosters. You guys know what boosters are. They're the people that donate money to the school. That's why USC is so popular, and it does so well because they have boosters that are all financially well off, and they donate back to the school. So 70% of the people who emailed the school, who are the alum, who are the boosters, who donate probably millions financially to the school, they said, no, we like the song. We want you to keep playing it. So the school did release some of these emails. And I think they did it in a way to say, well, look, like our boosters, our alumni, people who used to go to this school, people who some even currently have kids in the school, they're all for the song. So we're not going to remove the song. So I'm going to show you some of these emails because some of these emails will just really make you say, aha. It says UT needs rich donors who love the eyes of Texas more than they need a crop. I love this word. A crop of irresponsible and uninformed students or faculty who won't do what they are paid to do. This is very much a shut up and dribble. This is our racist song. You're not going to take our racist song from us. Let's move on to this next one because they keep getting better. One person said, they graduated they've been a season ticket holder since 1990. They, of course, retracted their name, but it says, if it is not kept and fully embraced, by fully embraced, they mean everybody, including Black people singing the song. If it is not kept and fully embraced, I will not be donating any additional money to the athletics or the university or attending any events. Okay, let's keep going because they keep getting better. They just keep going. This one is long. This one says, it is disgraceful to see the lack of unity and our fiercest competitor, Sam whatever, standing nearly alone. It is symbolic of the disarray of this football program, which you inherited. The critical race theory, I love how it's a theory, garbage that has been embraced by the football program and the university is doing massive, irreparable damage to our glorious institution and to the country. It has to stop. So these people succeeded. These people succeeded in winning this over, winning this fight. There were enough people that said, you know what, we're going to withdraw our funds, that the university simply said, that is fine. That is fine. You can do that. So a Texas player, Caden Stern, says he was told that if he didn't go out and sing the song he plays on the football team, he was told if he doesn't go out and play the song, not only is it going to be detrimental to his college career, that the alumni for that school said he will never be able to get a job in Texas ever, and they will make sure to that. So because he doesn't want to sing this racist song, they want to damage his present and his future. And the Texas head coach, Steve Sarkin, says that he plans to force every single player, including black players, to sing this song. This is unnerving to me, to hear that this is being allowed and we're saying, oh, it's just because the alumni think it's okay. It's a racist song. But then what really pisses me off is when you really dig into this and you see what people are saying, oh, you know what? It's fine, because the song might have started as a racist song. It might have started about slaves and this and whatever. But now it's all about Texas. It's all about saying, hey, our team, we're the Texans, and our eyes are upon you. We are going to defeat you. We've changed the meaning of it. No, the hell you haven't. Because fun fact, you guys, a swastika is actually a Hindu symbol that the Nazis plagiarized. And so they flipped it to the left. And then now that symbol is a symbol of hate. And we all know what that means. We all know if we see that symbol, none of us are safe. But you're not going to see anybody who's Hindu all of a sudden flipping it back to the right and saying, oh, you know what? We had it first. And it didn't mean that. It means to be prosperous, and it's a symbol of goodwill. You're not going to say that, because regardless of how it started, that's what it means now. And we all understand that that's what it means now. The level of racism in this situation, to me, is unnerving. This is what racism is. Racism is being able to hold on to your ideals that someone is less than, and then be able to push that onto other people. Black people just simply can't do that. We don't have the resources to do that. There's no black university that's all of a sudden going to throw out some sort of racist ideal and it's going to work. It's not going to work. That university would go under so quick, because everybody would snatch every form of funding and everything possible from it, because they don't have the power to do that. But that being said, this is exactly why black people need to make HBCUs their first and foremost choice. Because you don't want your kid. Now, how are you going to explain this to your kid? You don't want them to lose their football scholarship, but you don't want them to go out there and sing this racist song. So now you're literally caught between a rock and a hard place. And this is why people like Deion Sanders are so important. Because without them going out there and building up these black universities, we don't have other options. So we need to stand behind people like Deion Sanders at all costs. And we need to make sure we give these kids who don't feel like they have a choice, who feel like they now have to go out there and sing a song about their ancestors being hunted down like dogs, they have some place that they can go. But what we're not going to do is wash this one under the table, because this is not getting a lot of attention. And I'm going to make sure that it does, even if I have to send my very own email. So that's all I got for what we not going to do.
All right, Jackie. Thank you for. Wow, there's an echo. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. Thank you for that, Jackie. I am with you 100%. I just want to know, for all the people that are pushing for that song to still be sung and performed, what did that song do for you? Like, did it give you $1 million? Did it rescue your dog from drowning? Did it save your child? What did it do for you? Why is it so important? This is ridiculous. It's just an opportunity to exert power, and it's completely wrong. So thank you so much for shedding light on that, Jackie. And now we're going to wrap up the show. Thanks for bearing with us through some of our technical difficulties that we've been having. Don't forget to follow both of us on Instagram. You can also find Jackie on Twitter. Subscribe to our channel. Tap the bell for notifications. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will be on time tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.